Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video where my head is probably going to be cut off for the most of it, but yeah, today we're making mead for the first time and I don't know what I'm doing, but this is a really simple mead recipe. I'm making 10 litres worth using two of these massive 5-litre demijohns that I revealed as a part of an unboxing a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be super simple. It's just two of those. This isn't actually used in the brew process. This is just full of sanitizer that I'm cleaning, you know, these things in and various other measuring objects. So we're going to be using that. I'm going to be using 4 of these large bottles. They're 720 grams each. Hilltop Blossom honey. It's, let's be honest, it's cheap. 4 bottles of that cost me around £12, £11. And we reckon that that should make 10 litres at 11.11%. Assuming my maths is correct. I'll put a link to the calculator that I use to work that out if you're looking to make your own mead, and you can kind of work out whether you want to add any more sugar or that sort of thing. I did buy a big old thing of sugar. Ooh, that's throwing sugar everywhere. Kind of just in case I fancy upping it a bit more. I figured out if I add that, then it's probably going to be 15%, but obviously you're going to lose a bit of that honey flavour. So I think for this first one, let's go super simple and just do honey only mead. It should be about 11%. And all we really need to do is get some hot water into those demijohns, get the honey into that hot water, cool it down to an acceptable temperature, and pitch the yeast, which is this, which I've also shown before on the channel, Mangrove Jack's mead yeast MO5. I've sanitised the top of that as well, just in case. So yeah, I'm going to get this big bucket out of the way. I have a little jug of sanitizer on hand here, just in case I need to quickly re-sanitize anything. I'm using no rinse sanitizer now, which makes life a lot easier. I've just sanitized these things out. And the kettle's been boiled for about 5 to 10 minutes, so it should be kind of down at about 40 or 50 degrees, I guess. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put in kind of a couple of inches of hot water at the bottom of each of these. Get two of each. Yeah, I'm going to get 2 of the honey containers, jars. It's not a jar, bottles. 2 of the honey bottles in each. Get as much in as I can, and then mix it all up while the water's still warm, and then we'll cool it down to an acceptable temperature to pitch the yeast, which is between 15 and 30. Yeah, between 15 and 30 degrees. Huge range on this yeast, and you can brew it at kind of those temperatures as well, which is good because it's about 25 degrees outside here in the UK at the minute. Sure, it won't be for much longer, but hey, you never know. Okay, let's get some hot water in here. I think that should do us. There's just you know, a couple of inches in the bottom there, but they're pretty wide containers, so that's a fair bit of liquid still. Right, let's get these open. Into the first one we go. So that's the first one in. There's a little bit of honey left stuck to the sides, but what we're going to do is pour a bit more warm water in there once we've finished this up, just to get the kind of the very last dregs in. Alright, on to the second one. Last one. Right. There's the excess out of these. that's pretty much everything. Now before we cool the water down and pitch the yeast, I'm going to put the proper stoppers in to give this a shake up, to try and incorporate all of the honey in with the water that's in there. This is quite warm now, as you can imagine. This is the homebrew truffle shuffle. Batch 2, batch 1. I'm going to grab these, just take them over to the sink and top them up to kind of near the top with cold water, and then we'll take some temperature readings and go from there. Okay, these are now filled up with cold water. I went a bit far on that one, if I'm honest. Want to leave a bit of headroom for fermentation, obviously, so you can shake it around once you get your yeast in there, just to get everything going. Hoping that should be okay. I could decant some of that out and pour it into this one, but I feel like that's just further risking infection. So I'm going to leave it and hope that everything is fine. So the next stage is to find out what the temperature is, and in my sanitizer bucket we have our thermometer. Right, let's give it a moment. That is at 28 degrees, which is perfectly in range for this yeast. In theory, this one should be. Let's give this a rinse. In theory, this one should be a bit cooler because it's got a bit extra water in it, but let's find out. Yeah, 25, 26, that one, 25 and a half. So the good news is these are in range, so we can just get on with it straight away. But before we do, I want to take a gravity reading. Because of the slight volume difference between the two, I feel like this is going to produce, they're going to produce different gravity readings, and ultimately this one will probably end up as a slightly lower ABV. Okay, I don't think I can get my hydrometer in there, be able to get a reading and retrieve it again, given just how low down these are in the tank. So I'm going to put a little bit into this container, a little bit from each, and just take the measurement that way. It only needs to be the tiniest little splash. Let me get a reading from that. It's a bit small, but let me get a reading. Can we work this out? That's 1070 or 1069 on the nose, I think. 1069. Right, let me make a note of that. And how does this taste? Assuming, I mean, it's just. Tastes like honey and water, actually. Pretty delicious. Right, apologies about that. I don't know if you've seen how many cuts now. Got a bit confused as to which one I'd actually sampled, and I think I inadvertently swapped them around at some point as well. But now I've gone back and clarified that the one I definitely sampled was this one, the one with the lower volume amount. So that one is done. We need this one, the one with the higher volume amount. So let's just push that out of the way. I also know my camera stopped recording. I'm not sure how far through you got, but the reading on the lower one was 1.069 on the gravity reading. That doesn't really matter now, but it will help us work out our final ABV once it is finished fermenting. So now let's get a little drop of this one. Spin it to get rid of any bubbles, and on this one, as I suspected, it's slightly different. And this one is sat at 1.070 exactly, so only 0.001 between them, but it will make a bit of a difference. So now it is time to pitch the yeast. Pick it up from the box. This top has been sanitized. Now this sprinkle contents directly into a maximum of 23 litres. Well, we've only got 10, but it says maximum, so I think we're okay to use the whole thing. And in theory, it shouldn't matter too much if we don't get it quite even, because there should be plenty. So let's get these next to each other. And they're so difficult to tell now, although that one is slightly higher than that one. So just for me to make a mental note of which one is which when I store them. This is the higher volume one on the right and the lower on the left. So what shall I do with this? I'm going to cut this open, and then I think I'm just going to try and sprinkle straight in. thankfully the yeast packet kind of gives us a little funnel. That feels somewhat even. So now what I'm going to do is stick the, I'm going to sanitise the proper bungs. They have been sanitised already, so just a quick once in and rinse off. Although this is no rinse sanitizer, but you know. I'll stick those in and just give it not a vigorous shake, I just want to move the yeast around just a little bit, stop it sticking to the top. There we go. Still a tiny bit stuck at the top there. There we go. Same with this one. There's none stuck to the top of this one, but we could do with it being moved around, so just give it a quick. There we go, and that should hopefully disperse quite evenly. Let's get a bit more active, let me. There we have it. The yeast is off and going. It looks like there might be a touch more in that one, but they might just because it was done earlier. So now I'll take these bungs off quickly. Put these sanitised bungs with the holes in. Get them in, and finally. Wiggle the airlocks into place. It probably would have been better to put those into the bungs before the bungs went into the jars, but hey, at least it'll make sure everything's tight and secure on. And then I'm told the best thing to do now, you can just fill these up halfway with water, but if you've got some sanitizer, especially some of this no rinse stuff, if you and then I'm going to go store these where we store the beer upstairs in the cupboard for a while. I'm not actually quite sure how long these need to go in for, so I'm going to do some research and maybe I'll put it up on the screen now, maybe I'll turn the camera back on, but I'll try and let you know in some way what the plan is. But from memory, mead takes a bit longer than beer and cider and stuff. I think this is like a 6-week wait, so it's going to be a while before we can enjoy it, but 6 weeks from now gets us pretty close to the August bank holiday weekend, so maybe this will be a nice little treat for that. That's everything for today's video. Any questions in the comments below? All the equipment that I've used today, any information, tools I've used to work out what to do, also in the description below. Yeah, any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.